get my number one choice. And for everyone who knows me, you know what my number one choice is. But for everyone else who doesn't, my number one choice and my favorite anime of all time is none other than Cowboy Bebop. Let me best tell you how I feel when I watch the show. A rush of excitement, a rush of adrenaline. It is dark, complex, beautiful to look at. It has great characters, great dubbing, by the way. It just works on so many levels with me. The action works, the excitement is there, it just works. But you probably don't want to hear that. You probably want to hear what the story is all about. So, the story of this show is it's about a bounty hunter named Spike Spiegel. Along with his partner and best friend Jet, they go around the galaxy looking for criminals to bring in so they can get Woolongs. Along the way, they are meted by a con woman, femme fatale, named Faye Valentine, and a computer hacker named Edward. So, yeah, with that premise alone, you can kind of see why everyone loves this. Now, it actually kind of is overrated, but at the same time, I can accept the overratedness of this show much more than I could, accept it for the other shows. Mainly because I do think it deserves what it got for praise back then and even now, for so many reasons. Like I said, the animation, it is beautiful. It is a masterpiece of animation. It is just glorious looking at it. Even looking at it now, knowing that the show ran, 15 years ago, almost 20, it just looks beautiful. Uh, the dubbing, it is great. Steve Bloom is awesome. He is really awesome. As Spike Spiegel, he really sells it. He kind of is the example of a voiceover actor where I really wish to emulate his talent because he has great talent for what he did. The characters, brilliant. They are brilliant characters. Very complex, sometimes very dark, sometimes very crazy esque, but they still come across as human. The stories, great. They are just perfectly complex, perfectly tied together with every other episode. It kind of feels like one giant movie when you really think about it. But here's my downside, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I think I actually like the first 9 episodes a lot more than I like the remaining. Now, before you start booing me in the comments, let me tell you, I like the other episodes. I just like these first 9 a lot more than I like the remaining set. And I think it works because they didn't really tie into a big story at that point. I think it was still just being one off each time. Still kind of having a story arc, but just not really showing it. I think that's why I like those episodes a lot more than these ones. Because they weren't exactly tied into a story arc at that point. It was still just kind of doing its one off thing. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you and say I really don't like Edward. Now, I don't like Edward just because I don't know. It's something along the lines of when you introduce a kid character into a show, it either signals that the show ran out of ideas or the show had some network complaints and had to add something in. And let me get across something straight. Edward is not a bad character. Not at all. I just don't like him as much as I like the other characters. So, yeah, that's going to be my straightaway. Those are my two nitpicks, really. That I didn't see I didn't enjoy the rest of the show as much as I enjoyed the first 9 episodes. And Edward, to me, is kind of annoying. So, yeah, I'm going to just get to the personal story now before I get completely flamed out on this. So, personally, with Cowboy Bebop, why it became my number one is because it was the first anime I ever watched. It was the first show. And I was about probably 8 at the time. And I didn't know what anime was. Well, technically I kind of did because, there was Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! At the time. But I didn't know much about it. I was, just a kid. I enjoyed stuff like SpongeBob and, Johnny Bravo. And when I came across Cowboy Bebop on Toonami one night while I was at my aunt's house, I was just sitting there. I don't think my mouth was wide open, but my mind was just blown at just how beautiful it looked, how great the story was, just how complex it was, especially for a kid like me at the time. Yeah, that was complex. And I watched this, God, it would have been about 13 years ago. So it was a long time ago. It wasn't that long, but it was a long time ago. And yeah, just something about it just worked, and it just clicked with me. And I wouldn't say I was completely hooked at that point, but I just completely loved it. I just like got it. And kind of as the years went by, I saw less and less of it. But that was also because I got older and I had more responsibilities, I had more stuff to do. But when I kind of saw it again when I was 13, it just clicked back with me that that was just a great show, and it still is a great show. It's so great that I actually went out and bought the complete series on DVD. That's how great it was. That's how much it resonated with me after all these years. At one point, I had the first episode downloaded on my laptop. That's just how great it was. So, yeah, great animation, great characters, great dubbing, great stories. Again, my two nitpicks only being kind of Edward and, well, the first nine were better than, well, the remaining set of the show, just by a smudge because, I don't know, I just love the first nine a little more. Other than that, nothing else. I have nothing else about the show that I could really badmouth. It is a great show. And the ending, oh my god. Many people to this day are still wondering if there will be a second season with this show. And there hasn't been yet. And it's been almost 20 years since the show first came on the air. And there hasn't been a second season. So, yeah, I want to thank you for joining me for this list. Because this list basically showed me just how unique any of these shows are. Even the ones that I find okay are unique in their own way. The best way I could basically describe this list is this would be the stuff I would watch if I literally had nothing else better to do. If it was literally a lazy Sunday, I had a DVD player out, had some of these on DVD, and just decided to watch them. That's how great this is as a list. And Cowboy Bebop being number one is the pinnacle of that list. Um, so yeah, thanks for joining me. I will see you guys next time when we will get back to regular mini reviews. Thanks for sticking tuned with the list. I will see you later.